Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Edric Show. I am your host, Edric Jerome. This is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that notification bell, and you'll get notified when I post content each and every week. Very, very special guest today on the Edric Show. My guest is world chess champion and author Susan Polgar. She's here to discuss her new memoir, Rebel Queen: The Cold War, Misogyny, and the Making of a Grandmaster. The book chronicles her extraordinary journey from growing up in Communist Hungary to shattering glass ceilings and reaching the highest pinnacle of chess mastery. Her life story is a testament to resilience, brilliance, and the power of strategic thinking. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Hi,
My
everyone.
my pleasure. So first question, let me just get right into it. What inspired you to write Rebel Queen, and why did you decide to tell your story now in 2025?
Well, actually, I have started writing the book several years ago. It took about 3 years to complete it and get it out there for release. What happened was in 2019 when the Twins Gambit Netflix series got released, and it was a huge success. And in connection to that, I got approached by countless media outlets asking me whether that series were based on my life story with the obvious similarities with it. While that was not the case, the Netflix series was based on a fictional story on a novel, a book with the same title. Indeed, I have also lived a life as a young girl in a male-dominated field of chess and excelling and eventually earning, as the first woman in history, the men's Grandmaster title. And at the same time, when I explained that to them, that well, yes, there are similarities, but plenty of differences as well, they said, well, there should be a movie be made about your life. And then I started talking to connections I have in Hollywood and exploring and brainstorming and all that. And one of the problems in my negotiations in Hollywood was that many of the producers had kind of their idea how the book should be done, not necessarily the way it happened or the way I'd like it to be portrayed. And I got the advice from friends that, well, the only way you'll have kind of a control of how your story being told is if you write your memoirs. And then the eventual movie can be based on the book, the way you lived it, the way you tell the story, and then there will be at least, something to be based it on.
Um, Writing a memoir can be very vulnerable for an author. You have to revisit emotions and feelings, and then also be willing to put it out there for everyone to see and judge and evaluate and talk about. Um, so my question then is, what was it like when you were writing the book to revisit some of those childhood experiences, and were there things you learned about yourself during the writing process?
It was actually very emotional and very interesting. Some parts of the book, for example, about my early years, there is a lot I learned by talking to my parents with the occasion of writing the book. And I discovered things like, for example, how my father himself discovered chess accidentally as a high schooler and things like that. And a lot of things that, it was so long ago that we didn't talk about on a daily basis. So it was very emotional, also, obviously, reliving and researching through articles and other books that has been written about myself or my family. A lot of things I reflected on differently as an adult that many years later than when I lived it through. And I was more preoccupied in improving myself as a chess player, as a competitor. And fortunately, my parents, especially my father, took lots of those chess political fights on with the chess federation and so on. So it has been really emotional and fascinating journey, actually, the writing of the book.
Your early life in Hungary was unique, and particularly your father's approach to education and learning, which I thought was just fascinating, the approach that he took. So, can you describe what that was like and how his approach to education shaped your approach to learning and how it shaped you?
Well, I was homeschooled, which is kind of a normal option here in the US, but it certainly was not back in Communist Hungary in the 1970s. In fact, I believe I was perhaps the very first Hungarian child after lengthy fights and appeals getting that permission from the government to be homeschooled without any particular serious reason like being handicapped or not being able to go to school. So here the reasoning of my parents was simply that on one hand I was very advanced academically as of reading and writing and math and the basics of elementary school material. And also by the time I was elementary school age, 6 years old, I was already a quite successful little chess player. So it was very unique because I was homeschooled, and also my father had his theories, which he put into a book, which he has written even before I was born, but wasn't published until I succeeded kind of to prove his theories that every healthy born child is a potential genius. And it was very interesting, very different, I assume. But for me, it was natural because that's the only thing I knew. And I think one amazing element of my upbringing was the self confidence that my parents instilled in me, and also engraving in me the belief in the value of hard work, and that if you work hard, you're passionate about what you do, eventually there will be results, there will be success. And obviously, as the book chronicles it, and as life is, pretty much there is no success story without struggle, without roadblocks, without challenges. It's just part of life, it's part of the journey. And I think my parents were really great and successful in making me understand that, even as a young girl, that no, you're not going to win every single chess game. No, there will be issues, you know. And unfortunately, I had perhaps a bit more issues than we wish we had, but you know, roadblocks and difficulties is part of life, and makes it all the sweeter when you overcome them and you succeed.
You write about how your initial passion for chess came about from spending time with your father, and how that was just as engaging for you and just as meaningful for you as the game of chess itself and him teaching you chess, but just spending those moments with your father that you really, really enjoyed in your formative years. But my question as it relates to that is, how did you maintain that intense love of the game of chess over time? You know, a lot of prodigies, young people, they may get burned out. You know, maybe they're a soccer star at 14 and then they don't like it anymore. How were you able to maintain that love of and passion of chess, even as it maybe moved on from just that initial relationship and the good feelings you had with your father?
Well, I was very fortunate on several levels. First of all, that my father, who is a trained psychologist, was very, very good in giving me his passion for the game and introducing the game with all its beauty. And I developed that curiosity. I developed that respect for the game, that constant desire to know more about it, and that's really, I think, the key. And it really never felt like work, but it new every day was like a new journey, discovering more amazing things, you know. And yeah, I think that was really, really the key, that he was successful in that.
As you write extensively that, you know, you were in this male dominated chess society, yet you were able to navigate through all of that. So what were some of the obstacles that you faced early on? And, you know, how were you able to not get discouraged when, you know, folks were actively trying to persuade you not to be in this situation?
So just to follow up on your previous question and relates to this question as well. So when I was just 4.5 years old, I had my first big success when I entered the Budapest Elementary Schools Girls Championship. So I'm still 4.5, and the other girls are up to fourth grade, which meant they are 8, 9, 10, even almost 11 years old. And I not only played as a 4.5 year old, but I won the tournament. And not only I won the tournament, but I won all my games, 10 out of 10. So that kind of gave a big boost to my desire to continue. This may be something I can get really good at. This gave self-confidence to me and my parents as well. It kind of was a splash. Now, of course, unfortunately, soon later, we discovered not only in the chess clubs when I had to realize that the majority of the people there were grown men and not little girls. And many of them said a girl doesn't belong in a serious club like this. Girls are incapable of getting as good as them. And a lot of demeaning or nasty comments I had to deal with. But a year later, after I won that big championship for elementary school girls, I went back and qualified to the Budapest championship final, boys or girls, so for boys. And despite qualifying from the district qualifiers, when we got there, I was told that I'm not allowed to participate because I'm a girl. And that was just the first taster of the many sexist and discriminative decisions that I became a victim of much later on when I was playing in the Hungarian men's championship. I was allowed to play and finished in the top three. With that, I qualified myself to the men's world championship cycle until I was told that I'm not allowed to play due to my gender. So there were many instances when I was held back, I was punished for believing the fact that women are just as capable in intellectual pursuits as men, because back then in the Hungarian chess authorities, sport authorities, and even the chess community themselves did not believe that that was possible because women at up to that point indeed haven't proven that they were. And just because there was no precedent, the people believe that it's impossible. And it was very revolutionary that myself, my parents believed that, said so. And eventually, I'm happy to say I managed to prove it.
At what point along your journey did you realize or discover or find out that, you know, I could actually be I could be a champion. I could be a grandmaster. What was that moment? And what did it feel like when you realized that you could become, the top chess player in the world?
It was a great feeling, and the beauty was that I felt every day that I know a little more, I know a little more, and I think that's the key. Whatever you do, whether it's chess or anything else, that you feel that, right? That if you have genuinely more knowledge of the field you're studying, it makes you feel better. It improves your self-confidence, and eventually the results will come. So I just built on it every day, every day, every day. And one of the theories my father had that it's very, very important not to skip days, but keep building on your knowledge. Because in fact, he used to have a saying that if you skip a day, you forget or you lose 10 days of learning. So even if it's not equally the same amount every day, but it's really important to train the brain to reinforce the patterns, the ideas, the motives that we learn.
It's interesting you mentioned train the brain, and because that leads into my next question. Because in addition to to you being a renowned chess player and one of the best ever, you also have a strong background in mathematics, an intellectual endeavor that most people don't. But how did mathematics and the learning of mathematics affect your ability to be a chess champion, or did they complement each other? How did that skill set come about as well?
Well, I started actually learning math before chess, and I was pretty good at it for my age. And up to a certain point, up to age 6, like from 3 to 6, let's say, I was learning math pretty seriously, and I got pretty advanced for a 4 or 5 year old. And by age 6, my father felt that, and I was playing chess as well by then, that I better make a choice because if I really want to excel in either of them, I better focus pretty much most of my time on that. And it was an easy choice for me. I much preferred chess. It was a lot more fun to me. And while I was very good in math early on, I never really took it that seriously beyond passing school exams after that. So I'm very happy that I chose chess, and I'm not sure how much it did help or did not, but chess is partly calculation, but a lot less so than people think. A lot of it is pattern recognition, strategy, psychology, planning, calculated risk taking. So it has a lot of real elements, I think, more so in a way than people understand it.
Over the years, obviously, chess was first and foremost, and you were driven and accomplished, and you were able to reach the highest level. But what were some of the other things you were into, or what are some of the other interests you had during that time, or was chess just a singular focus for you over those years?
Well, chess was the main focus, but I had a number of other interests. Languages is one of them. I have been speaking fluently 7 languages at one point. I'm still fluent, probably at least 5. And I love traveling, which was part of the benefits of being a professional chess player. I've been to, at this point, over 90 countries in the world and all 50 states of the United States. I love sports. I used to do swimming and tennis and table tennis, and I like the gym. So I just do many things. Of course, I love music and movies.
You also made a concerted effort to give back. And one of the things I want to ask you about now is the Susan Polgar Foundation. Tell me about your foundation. What are its goals, and what is your long-term vision for this organization?
The Susan Polgar Foundation was founded in 2002 with a mission to promote chess, basically, with all its educational and other benefits. And we're very proud that we reached thousands and thousands of young children, young people, especially many girls. We have awarded over $7 million in scholarships and prizes through our partners and sponsors. We do many big events every year. We're coming up next with the 22nd edition of the Susan Polgar Girls Invitational, which is a very special elite event where each of the 50 states can nominate 2 of their top female players to represent their states, and then they fight it out for valuable hundreds of thousands of dollars valued scholarships. And also, it's a great opportunity for the girls to, get inspired from each other. I'm at the event as well, and they can learn and get hopefully inspired and empowered through the event. So we do not just that event, of course, we do many events. And also we help different schools and organizations with their chess programs.
My next to the last question I have for you is, obviously everybody's talking about AI and blah 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 blah, and but artificial intelligence in chess games and video games has been around for a long time, right? So, what's your view of artificial intelligence in chess? And have you played computers before? I know there was a giant match I think a few years ago with folks playing computers. And what's your view of computers in chess? And is that really a way to learn, or do you think it's better learning against a human being?
Well, computers actually made a whole revolution, even related to chess in my lifetime. While obviously, when I started playing chess, computers did not exist for chess or not for much for the public. I remember the very first little chess machine I got called Boris Diplomat was not very capable. Let's say I would beat it easily in every game. But we came a long way from that when Deep Blue has defeated the best human chess player, Garry Kasparov, I think 1997. That was revolutionary. And over the years, when people didn't take computers in chess seriously through there being a competition between humans and computers to the day when it's not even a conversation, just like it's not a debate whether a car can drive faster than a human can run. So we're pretty much almost at a similar situation that the computers would beat even the best human chess players almost every game. And yeah, but in the meantime, it's a wonderful tool to use to learn, to practice. When you play a game, you can use it as an aid to point out where the mistakes were made, how you could have played better. So actually, it's a fantastic tool for people to have a 24/7 sparring partner to play with, but even more importantly, to learn from. So it's definitely a fantastic tool today.
Well, Susan, I want to thank you so much for coming on the Edric Show and sharing your story with the world. Congratulations on your book. And if people want more information about you or the book or your foundation, where can they go?
SusanPolgar.com, very simple. From then there are links to both how to get the book as well as the foundation.
Well, thank you very much. And again, I appreciate you taking the time to chat with me here on the Edric Show.
Thank you, my pleasure.
You're very welcome. This is the Edric Show. My guest has been world chess champion and author Susan Polgar. Her new book, Rebel Queen, The Cold War, Misogyny, and the Making of a Grandmaster. You can get all information at susanpolgar.com. And again, I thank you so much for coming on the Edric Show today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, this has been another edition of Edric Show. Don't forget, this is the place for intelligent conversation with interesting people. Go ahead and hit that subscription button and ring that notification bell, and you'll get notified when I post content each and every week. I want to thank you for tuning in, and I will catch you on the next episode.